Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. I really enjoyed that conversation with Jeff Duncan. You know, Jeff and I worked together when I was at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, and so many amazing reporters, Pulitzer Prize-winning reporters were part of our team. And Jeff basically owned the story when it came to the New Orleans Saints. He is the guy that usually breaks the story. As we pointed out, one of the stories he broke is that Alvin Kamara will be talking to Roger Goodell. And, you know, I'm not surprised by that. But we're so lucky to have access to him. He became a good friend when I was there. And he's been terrific on this show for over 3 years now. It's incredible that he makes himself available to us in that way. But they see the Gulf Coast region as being important to them, and so it's great to have the opportunity to talk to Jeff. And Jeff really enjoys talking to coastal Mississippi and the state through SuperTalk TV and through Facebook and YouTube and all that. But it's a great perspective, really good perspective, and he's a really good dude. So now let's shift gears. So I go back in time and think about conversations that I've really enjoyed. One of them is someone that I promised we would get back on the show more often, and we just haven't done it. And we got to do better at that. But it's my friend, someone I've enjoyed getting to know better, Bart Luther, who owns Biloxi Bicycles, and he's very active in Gulf Coast Bicycle Club, and he's got so much else that he's up to these days. But anyway, Bart, how you doing, my friend?
Great, Ricky. How are you doing? Thank you for having me back on the show. I love sharing my bicycle stories and, you know, the health and fitness and just living on the Gulf Coast and how great it is.
Yeah, you know, you have a cool story. You didn't grow up here, but as I often say, you got here as quick as you could, and then you fell in love with this community. And where you're located in Biloxi, it's not just a bicycle club. It's sort of like, as we discussed the last time we talked, it's really kind of a place. It's a community. Describe that. What I'm trying to say about what you do there.
Well, even this morning, we had a group ride from the shop that leaves on Howard Avenue, and there's several neighbors. And of course, it wasn't staged. It's just a Wednesday morning. And the neighbors are out walking their dogs. And I just happened to mention, hey, what do you think about all these bicycles in the neighborhood? And the lady said, oh, this is fantastic. I love seeing all the bicycles. And it's someone that rode bicycles when they were younger around Biloxi. They actually had a paper route. So, you know, we got to hear a little story about some of the other bicycle shops that had come and gone in Biloxi. And I felt grateful because she said, I'm so glad you're here. And, you know, she is not really a cyclist much anymore. She does walk her dog around the neighborhood. But when I said we were going to the Back Bay, she just cracked the biggest smile because she remembers riding bikes back there now. And she asked us how it was. And I explained to her there's even a bicycle path on the Back Bay Boulevard. And she was just so happy to hear that.
You know, I love riding bikes, as you know. And when I need my parts for my bike, which thank God is not too often, I'll come to your shop and get what I need. In fact, I noticed the other day that I have a very slightly bent back rim, so I'm gonna have to bring it to you and get you to replace that for me. But you're a full service shop. I mean, you can buy bikes there. You can get just about anything you need to enhance your bike ride. Why don't you tell people a little bit more about what your shop is?
Okay, well, it is a bicycle shop, so we do sell bikes. We make sure, you know, that when we sell a bike, that we're making sure that the customer's getting the bike really that they need. We are price sensitive, so there's so many different types of bicycles nowadays, and I love explaining to people, you know, the different types of bikes and then going over prices. But we are also a full service shop, so if you have an old bike hanging in the garage, believe us, I hate to see those things in the landfill or collecting dust. We can fix bikes as well. You know, on the Gulf Coast, there was a problem. It was hard to get your bike in for repair. I've made a lot of improvements to our shop as far as being able to get drop-off appointments. You can make a scheduled appointment, and we can usually get your bike back to you within a few days. So if you were scared to drop off your bike for repair in the past because it might take a couple of weeks, we have fixed that. I have mechanics right now ready to work on your bike today. So
well, that's awesome. Yeah.
But it's not just about sales and service. It's about the community. So we do a lot of bicycle rides. And that's what it really, it's my favorite part of the job is getting people out there riding bikes. But to do so, you have to have a working bike. So we try to do sales service, but really it's about riding bikes and what I really love.
Well, Bart, I track you, as you know, I track you on Facebook, and you ride a lot. I don't. In fact, you probably track your number of miles, and I'd be interested in knowing how many miles a week you ride. But I bet you don't have much body fat. that's probably my read on you.
I don't, and I eat a lot. So I ride my bike to work, and I've got this big bag, and people say, "Well, what do you carry, Bart?" And I said, "Food." You can save a lot of gas money by riding a bike, but believe me, you spend that on your own intake. I try to eat good food, but yeah, I ride a couple 100 miles a week. I rode with a gentleman, retired gentleman, this morning, retired from the Beau Rivage. He's up to 7,000 miles already this year. I'm not close to that because I do spend a lot of time in the bicycle shop working, but I'm a couple of 100 miles a week, and that's easy to accomplish for me. But I ride with a lot of people that get 5 miles a week, so. Any amount of bicycle riding is good. It doesn't always have to be about time or how distance. It's just getting out there. If you can ride your bike around the block once or twice a week, and people say, well, what good is that going to do? It does you so much good to just ride your bike just a little bit.
Yeah. So when I go, let's say, let me give you an example. When I go to somewhere like Destin with the family, I'll literally ride every day, every single day. I'll do 10 or 15 miles a day the whole time that we're there. And because I do that, I love doing it incidentally because it's some really cool places to be able to ride. But I'm able to say when I get back that I actually lost weight while I was on vacation. I mean, that's. Right. So I try to make. I don't go on the vacation saying, "Oh, I'm going to go get more fit," but I just say I'm going on vacation, and I'm going to use sort of this quiet time that I'm able to gain from riding the bike to go explore. In places like Miramar, which is where we lease a house there, and it's a cool thing. And normally for me, I'm going to run or walk 40 to 50 miles a week, and I'm going to do 10 miles on the bike. That's kind of my normal week. And, I obviously right now, and you can talk to people about this, with these unbelievably high temperatures, the main thing is safe. It's very safe as long as you stay hydrated. That's the main thing, isn't it, buddy?
It is exactly. Stay hydrated. Like this morning, we left the shop at 6:30 in the morning, and it's fairly, I called it coolish. But compared to midday, it's definitely a lot more comfortable. And there's something about riding a bike because you're creating enough momentum that you're really cooling your skin off. So as you're riding, you're not extremely hot. It's when you stop. So you have to kind of be prepared for that stop. And at that time, get into the air conditioning or under the shade is important. And you brought up a really cool point. When you're on vacation, you like to ride your bike. The trend now in vacations it's not just all about relaxation. You want a little adventure with that relaxation. So here on the Gulf Coast, we are a tourism city. We're a tourism coast. And bicycle tourism, I think, is going to become a very important part of our tourism base. When I get tourists come here every day, I had a gentleman come from Sweden yesterday. He rode bikes with us today, and he was blown away. He's been to Biloxi a couple times. He's coming back. He loves Biloxi. But after what he saw today, he said, I'm coming back more often. So people want that adventure with their relaxation, and it makes that buffet taste that much better. It makes that bed in that casino so much more comfortable. It just really enhances the trip by taking a short bike ride or a walk or just some type of adventure. And here on the Gulf Coast, we are so lucky to have this. And being able to share it from people all over the country or all over the world is fantastic. If you could think of someone in maybe Kansas City and they picked Biloxi for a vacation and they get to ride 20 miles of pristine beach, they are absolutely blown away. This guy from Sweden today, we took him over the Biloxi Bay Bridge. He looked down, he saw shrimpers, he saw dolphins, he saw, recreational boaters, and just the view. He was absolutely blown away. And when I look at pictures of Sweden, I said, that's beautiful. He looked at our Gulf Coast this morning and said, this is gorgeous.
But Bart, what's interesting is, of course, you're not from here. So it changes your perspective when you come from other places and come here. The thing about being on a bike, though, is that it gives you the opportunity to see things you would not see if you were in the car. Now, look, let me I'll be real about this. When you're riding down the beach in your car here in coastal Mississippi, it's one of the most unique drives like it in America. In fact, there's only one other place in the entire United States where there are live oak lined boulevards similar to what we have here in this a place somewhere in South Carolina. So the fact that we've got this unencumbered view for the most part south, we've got this growing links of the boardwalks and how this city is committed to that. It's just really special. And then you talk about being at the top of the Ocean Springs Bridge this time of year and looking out over that. Gosh, man, we'll get your reaction to all that when we get back on the other side. But this is Bart Luther from Biloxi Bicycles, a good friend, someone who I really admire. And it's more than just about bikes with him. It's about community. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Welcome back to the Ricky Mathews Show. I have my friend Bart Luther from Biloxi Bicycle Works. Let me say that correctly. And a sense of community is what he brings to this conversation around bike riding. But when we went to break, we were talking about how unique the view is when you're on a bike. And I love it. I can't ever get enough of it when I ride from the North Shore of Back Bay, cross Potts Ferry Road Bridge, down to the beach, and then on over to Rodenberg and then back. That is about 10 miles from me. And it's a beautiful drive. And so because it's boardwalks a lot of the way. But we talk about someone coming in from the outside of tourists and their perspective and whatever. But what a way for a local to change their perspective.
Oh yeah. Well, another story from this morning, Ricky. We were going down Howard Avenue, and you know where the Herring Brick Roads kind of starts right there in downtown. We took a right on Orr Street, and on Orr Street, there's a little breakfast spot called it's a biscuit, the Greenhouse, and they sell biscuits and coffee in the morning. He smelled the biscuits, and he said, "What is that?" If we weren't on a bike, we're in a car, he would not have smelled the biscuits. And he said, "Can we stop and get a biscuit?" And of course, this guy came to bike ride, but it just compelled him so much, and he noticed the mural. So there's a great little mural right there. I had just taken a tour with the city of Biloxi on a heritage tour, so I knew what that mural was about. And I explained to him the little story on the mural, and he asked if there's any more in town. I said, there's a whole bunch of these murals in town. He went from wanting to get a fitness ride to wanting to know more about our culture. Yeah. And I gave him a tour. And if it wasn't for being on the bike, smelling the biscuits come out of the Greenhouse Cafe, and his eyes being able to catch that mural in the alleyway, our whole ride would have changed. It would have still been good, but it really enhanced his experience this morning by taking a little time and just seeing what Biloxi had to offer. Okay, so this is airing on Friday, the second half of the show on Friday, and it is my birthday. Today is my birthday. And I turned 66 years old. It's hard for me to even say 66 because in my body, I feel like I'm in my 30s. You know what I mean? I have a young spirit. I always have. I know when people look at me, they probably see an old guy, but to be honest with you, I feel extraordinarily young because I've been committed to physical fitness for most of my life. For over 40 years, I have really done everything you're supposed to do to try to stay healthy. And but the one thing that I keep thinking about as I ride my bike is I don't want to crash. If I crash, I want to do everything that I'm supposed to be doing to make sure that I stay uninjured as much as possible, because at my age, injuries mean more than they used to when we were in our 30s. What advice do you have for me about that? Well, really, a lot of it has to do with equipment. Make sure your equipment is in working order. Make sure your bike fits you. If your bike's not comfortable and you're having to lean too far over, sometimes you don't have a great visual front of what's in front of you because you're trying to compensate for maybe some pains in your neck. But if you have a bike that's upright, you can see forward and keep eyes wide open, it really does make a difference. Good tires. On your car, you don't let your tires wear out, but it seems like on bicycles, people let their tires get dry rotted and wear out. Modern equipment, I hate to say it, but your old laptop 10 years ago doesn't work as good as your new laptop. They make bikes a lot more ergonomic nowadays. They're putting wider tires with lower air volume that gives a good footprint on the ground. Brakes have improved so much. So if you are riding a 15 or 20-year-old bike, and I don't want to see those in the landfill either, but if you're not comfortable, let's get you comfortable on a bike where you can concentrate more on the road and your surroundings than maybe some discomforts in your hands in your butt, in your shoulders, in your neck. Let's get you comfortable, and then you can concentrate on what's around you. That's kind of a big piece of advice.
That's good advice. Well, hey, when I bring my, because I've done probably over the years thousands of miles on this bike that I have now, but when I bring it up to get that rim replaced that I've noticed got a little wobble in it, I'll let you, take a look at whether I've got it set up properly. I've not thought about that. It feels like it's right, but it may not be. I'm gonna let the expert look at it and tell me if I need to make some adjustments to it. But that's important. I don't want to crash. I had the strangest thing happen to me the last time I was on the bike. I was headed toward a particular area that I like to ride, but I have to go through a kind of a well-traveled area. A lot of traffic in that area. As I approached that area, I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't go there today because I could see ahead. I could see a lot of traffic. And literally as I had that thought, Bart, a squirrel ran out and almost hit my tire. And it just as it got to my tire, it turned rapidly. And then it reminded me just how quickly things can go to hell in a handbasket. So you have to be aware, don't you?
You have to be aware, and that's one of the beauties of bicycle riding. You can tune everything out and just concentrate on what you're doing. A bicycle is not a good time to play on your cell phone.
Yeah.
It's good to get in the zone, but you also have to be aware of your surroundings. I say being friendly helps out safety a lot. One, because as you're being friendly and making eye contact, not only with, walkers and joggers on our multi-beat path, but also cars, a little wave or something goes a long way, but it also lets you know that they saw you. So when I encounter people, for example, on the boardwalk, we're out of time, but I will go out of my way to say good morning. Don't let me startle you. I'll even stop. Whatever it takes. I want them to know that I'm yielding to them. Anyway, exactly. Bart, it's been a pleasure, and we'll continue the conversation next time. It's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you very much.
You bet. And listen, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care.